Welcome to the SABC News COVID-19 Global Wrap, where myself, Babalola Phaka, and my colleague Busisiwe Khatebe bring you highlights of news which dominated headlines with regards to the coronavirus pandemic. But before we delve into it, let us have a look at some global stats. The world currently sits at over 34 million confirmed cases, while the recovery rate stands at over 25 million. More than 1 million people have now died across the world due to COVID-19. South Africa currently has over 670,000 confirmed cases, with over 609,000 recoveries and over 16,000 deaths.
South Africa welcomed its first commercial flights on Thursday, hours after the international travel ban was eased. The country closed its borders in April in a bid to contain the spread of the COVID-19. Health experts in the country warn that some patients may develop post-COVID-19 pneumonia or inflammation of the lungs. They say they are seeing patients with long-term lung damage as a result of the coronavirus. And lastly, Health Minister Dr. Zweli Mkhize says the need for equitable access to COVID-19 treatments and vaccines has become more compelling, especially in developing countries. He says the impact of the pandemic has devastated global economies. He says it has also prompted the need for universal health coverage, among other things. Mkhize was speaking during a virtual meeting of the UN Access to COVID-19 Tools Accelerator Facilitation Council, ACT Accelerator. On to the rest of Africa. The continent has now recorded over 1.4 million confirmed COVID-19 cases, with over 1.2 million recoveries, and the death toll stands at 36,139. The World Health Organization African region says the low cases of COVID-19 in Africa are due to a variety of socio-ecological factors, as well as early and strong public health measures taken by governments across the region. The pandemic has largely been in a younger age group and has been more pronounced in a few countries, suggesting country-specific aspects are driving the pattern of disease and death. And lastly, while some schools in Kenya have introduced online learning, others have turned operations away from education. This as schools in the country remain closed. Schools like Moya Brethren have been turned into chicken farms to earn a living.
And in international news, United States of America President Donald Trump announced on Friday that he and his wife, Melania Trump, both tested positive for COVID-19 and were going into quarantine. As seen in a Reuters report, Trump on Thursday predicted that the end of the coronavirus was in sight, and shortly thereafter, news broke that his top advisor and trusted aide, Hope Hicks, had tested positive for the virus. Meanwhile, a surge in new virus cases in New York has prompted city officials to impose a fine of up to $1,000 to residents who refuse to wear a face covering. Over 20 other states also saw upticks in new infections over the past 2 weeks. Virus hospitalizations were also on the rise in Midwestern states such as Minnesota, Montana, South Dakota, and Wisconsin. In Asia, China's mainland reported 12 new COVID-19 cases on Wednesday, all of which were imported infections involving travelers from overseas. And in Europe, various countries across the continent have been experiencing a surge in cases. In a bid to control the virus, the region's worst-hit COVID-19 hotspot Madrid is set to go into hard lockdown, while Italy seeks to extend the country's state of emergency to the end of January 2021. And finally, the World Health Organization said approximately 120 million rapid COVID-19 test kits will be made available to low and middle-class countries at a maximum of $5 per unit. The rollout is set to enhance testing capacity in hard-to-reach areas with little or no access to lab facilities or enough trained healthcare workers.
For the latest updates on the coronavirus, visit sabcnews.com.